Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock on a Monday, which means it's time for a 5x5. Now, this is where I take 5 subjects related to magic. I spend 5 minutes talking about each subject. I move on to the next subject. It's quick, it's snappy, and you never know what you're going to get. Now, today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to talk about 5 things or 5 problems with the Magic Cafe, or 5 things that really annoy me about the Magic Cafe, or 5 things that kind of I don't understand about the Magic Cafe. Pick your title, whichever one you want to go for. Now, this is not me hating on the Magic Cafe. In fact, I have done a video very recently where I talked about 10 things that I love about the Magic Cafe. I talked about 10 reasons why you should visit there on a regular basis. And I still believe all of that. I really do. And I think that the Magic Cafe in many ways is a great resource. Unfortunately, it's a resource that in some ways is broken. And I just want to kind of highlight a few of those issues with the Magic Cafe and maybe talk about how we can fix it, because it is a great resource. It's the place that a lot of people go to communicate about magic. And yeah, unfortunately, there's a few issues with it. And the problem is, a lot of new people that get into magic find the Magic Cafe very early on. And when they do and they visit there, they think that the Magic Cafe is indicative of what the magic community is like, which it's not. The Magic Cafe is almost like its own little ecosystem, separate and away from everything else. So, I should point out that this is only my opinion. Doesn't mean it's right. This is an opinion piece. But in my opinion, these are the 5 things that are very problematic about the Magic Cafe. And yeah, maybe we can figure out how to fix it. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about, and the first thing that I kind of really dislike about the Magic Cafe, and I always have, is the amount of people that are on there that have an ego the size of a planet. Now, I've talked about the fact that I've got a big ego. I think every magician, every performer has a big ego. But there's a lot of people on there that tie their own relevancy within this community into how many posts that they have made on the Magic Cafe. And I remember getting into an argument with somebody a couple of years ago. And it wasn't on the Magic Cafe, actually. It was offline, and I was speaking to this person over the phone, and they posted on the Magic Cafe, and I remember this person saying to me that that I needed to realise that they were very, very important, and their post count shows how important they are, and people listen to them, and they are a something on the Magic Cafe. Now, this is somebody who you wouldn't even know who they are. This is somebody who, you know, it's not like a big name in magic. It's not anybody who's released anything or anything like that. But that just kind of drilled it home to me and this person isn't the only person that thinks that. There's a lot of people that feel like their opinion is more valid because of the post count that they have on the Magic Cafe. It's normally the same people that jump in on every single thread and give their opinion immediately, and normally it's a negative opinion. And you see this happening a lot. And look, I'm all for people giving their opinion on anything. I'm absolutely fine with people giving their opinion. I give my opinion on stuff all the time. This is a video filled with my opinion about the Magic Cafe. But here's the thing. You see the same thing on Facebook in a way, and I've seen it on Facebook where somebody will ask a question about a particular subject matter. Oh, I need more gigs. Can you help me get more gigs? And I see the person that's replying, and I see them, and they're giving advice which I know is completely wrong. And if they follow that advice, that is not going to get them more gigs. And this person's speaking from a position of authority, and nobody else knows who this person is. And it's dangerous, because if a new person comes into magic and goes, oh, that's good advice, I'll follow that, they're going to end up going absolutely nowhere. And I've seen it, like I say, happen on Facebook, and I've seen that exact scenario happen. And I've seen it where the person giving the advice, they have no idea what they're talking about, and they've never actually done a gig in their life. And yet they're posting on Facebook as if they know everything about getting gigs, and they're absolutely amazing and they're absolutely brilliant. I see it happening an awful lot, and it's kind of like having a business coach. Um, Having a business coach who's never run their own business. Like, yes, technically you could be a business coach and you could give people advice on running a business, but unless you've actually run your own business, unless you've actually done that, there's a lot of information that you're just not going to know. It's the same thing if somebody, for example, sets themselves up as a YouTube expert, but they've never built a very big YouTube channel. They've never. It's kind of like, don't do what I do what I say, and you see that all the time on the Magic Cafe. You see people giving advice on the Magic Cafe and speaking very, very confidently about every single subject. There's somebody on the Magic Cafe that almost jumps on every single new trick on the latest and greatest and either says how amazing it is or how terrible it is. And they perform, like, occasionally, very, very rarely. They're not a professional magician by any stretch of the imagination, and there's no problem with that. I don't care if somebody's a professional magician, but they typically will say, well, this won't work in a gig because of this. This won't work in a gig because of this. And I think the problem is it's partially down to anonymity. I've always struggled saying that word. So it's partially down to the fact that you can post on the cafe and be completely anonymous, and nobody will know who you are. So you can say whatever you want to without fear of repercussions. And people will. People tie their own self-importance into their post count. And then you combine that with the fact that they can post on the cafe and nobody knows who they are. And it's an issue. Like, look, I'm fully aware that I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm a little bit like Marmite. I'm completely aware of that, but you know who I am. I'm not hiding my identity. I don't hide behind a little picture of a rabbit with a top hat, silhouette rabbit and top hat picture. You know exactly who I am. When I'm giving my opinion, it's not like I'm hiding behind something. And also when I'm giving my opinion is based on the fact that I've been doing this professionally for 30 years. It's based on the fact that I've been doing this for a very long time. I know this industry inside out, back to front, left way, sideways. And, I'm coming at it from some sort of degree of experience. Now, I'm not saying other people aren't as well. There's a lot of experienced people on the Magic Cafe. And that's one of the things that I've said I love about the Magic Cafe. If you look at the video that I put up where I said I love the Magic Cafe, there's certain things that I really love about it. And one is, you can get a lot of big names on the Magic Cafe. Chatting and talking and being able to pick their knowledge is amazing. But, you look at somebody like Gaz Lawrence, for example, and I know just by bringing up Gaz Lawrence, I'm probably going to get an angry text message off him or something like that. And me and Gaz have this kind of weird relationship. We're kind of frenemies. I've seen posts that he's made on various different YouTube videos before, calling me out and calling me in every name under the sun. But we spoke on the phone as well, and we've shared a drink at Blackpool. So it's kind of a weird relationship that me and Gaz have. But he was on the cafe all the time, and would post very, very confidently and post about how he knows everything about everything. And then disappeared off the Magic Cafe for a few different reasons, that we're not going to get into on this video. And just the other day, I saw a post go up on the Magic Cafe under one thread that was just like, Gaz returns. I am back, and I'm going to take down Steve Brooks, and I'm going to take down the Magic Cafe, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, because I was unfairly dismissed from the Magic Cafe, and they tried to sell at me for this, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, Gaz, you got banned, whatever, deal with it. Just don't let it rule your life. I mean, in order for somebody to get kicked off the Magic Cafe and then create another account just to come in and say, this place is on and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you can't get rid of me, this is what happened. In order to take time to do that, bearing in mind how much time it's going to take to create a fake account, set up a fake email address, post online, blah, 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 blah. It takes a lot of time and effort to do that. Why bother? It's because Gaz is a little bit like some of the other people that go on the Magic Cafe, where they feel important because of their stature on the Magic Cafe. Now, Gaz actually has got some chops. I've seen him perform. I've seen him do a really good job. I've given both of the tricks he's brought out recently through Mark Mason a great review. There's a lot to like about the stuff that he brings out, but you know, going on the Magic Cafe and announcing that you're back and blah, 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 it just shows you the problem that we have with some of the people that post on the Magic Cafe. It's almost like it's the most important thing in their life. And you see that by the amount of the post count. I post on there rarely. Normally when I have a project come out, or if I've seen something that I feel I can chip in on, like a trick that I know about or something. That's the only time I post. But there you go. That's the first thing. The self-importance of the members that are on there, coupled with the anonymity. I can't say that word. The fact that they can post and nobody knows who they are. That's the first issue that I have with the cafe. Okay, so the second thing, I don't really know how we fix this. And I don't even know if it's a problem that needs fixing, but it's definitely something worth talking about, which is the latest and greatest forum is all about speculating about products. So the latest and greatest forum is all about, hey, you've got these new products, and you can post in there about the new products, and then people can go in and they can speculate on method. I mean, that's what the forum is set up for. And the latest and greatest is the most popular forum on the Magic Cafe, because creators will go in there to promote their trick, and people will come in and talk about the trick. So depending on how hyped or how big the release is, you're going to get various pages of people speculating about method. And I don't know how I feel about this, because in one respect, magicians have been doing this since days gone by. I do it. A new trailer will come up and I'll say to Matt, oh, that looks good. Do you have any idea how that's done? And he'll say, well, I think it's this. And I'll go, nah, it can't be that because of this. And we'll have a conversation about it. I've had many conversations with many magicians about tricks that are coming out and how they're done. That's just a thing you do. And that's been happening since time gone by. I remember the very first Magic Society I joined when I was a lot younger was the Wolverhampton Magic Circle. In my very first meeting, everybody was talking about tricks that had just come out and how they were done. The difference is, back when I first joined a Magic Society and now, the internet wasn't really a big thing. Now the internet is massive. Magic Cafe is big. Social media is big. So when you speculate on the internet, everybody who is a member of that forum or that Facebook group is going to join in with the speculation. And what will happen is it becomes a discussion not just on method, but it becomes a discussion. The problem is the latest and greatest forum goes beyond speculation. And I talked about this. I did an exposed video on my trick Destiny Deal. If you haven't seen that exposed video, go check it out. I basically just broke down how Destiny Deal works, like I do with all my products, because I want people to buy it if they want to buy it based on the fact that they know how it works, so there's no nasty surprises. And it took me a couple of weeks to film that because I've been very, very busy. So Destiny Deal came out about 10 days ago, 10 days before the exposed video goes up. It normally goes up earlier. And here's the thing. So there was a thread on Destiny Deal which got shut down, probably because various members of the Magic Cafe, well, one particular member of the Magic Cafe said I was mentally ill for answering people's questions and replying to people's comments about the trick. Which is another problem with the Magic Cafe. It can be very, very insulting, but whatever. By the by, the problem was with this Destiny Deal thing. The trailer was made to be very, very honest, so you could actually see the move, and because of that, people were assuming that Destiny Deal. There were two problems that people had with it. The first problem was they were like, well, there's no gimmick. There's no gimmick. It's just an instruction card, and you just do a double lift. It's like Macard. Craig's just ripped off Macard by Matt Mello, which couldn't be further from the truth. And if you go look at the Destiny Deal exposed video, you'll see how it works, and you'll see all the comments of people going, "Oh, that's clever, that's clever, that's clever." And then you're seeing reviews come in now from people like Blake Along and Alex from Monster Magic, and you're seeing, like, I think there's 10 reviews on the Penguin site at the moment. Everyone's saying the same thing. This is amazing. This is amazing. This is amazing. But there were two problems. The first problem is people, three problems actually. Two. So the first problem was people didn't think it was a gimmick. They just thought I was doing a double lift. And the second problem, which is not true, and the second problem was on the trailer, because we wanted to be completely honest about it, there's a moment where you see me turn the card face down on the deck, and the card stays face down for a few seconds. And you see the actual process. We did basically a full performance with a couple of cuts to speed things up. And so you see you see a moment where the card's being kept face down, and people are like, well, that's terrible. That's terrible because the card's turned face down, and that's a terrible moment for the card to turn face down, and you should have the card face up because, you know, if you have the card face up, but the method won't work if the card's face up. And then people are like, yeah, this is a terrible trick. It's a terrible... And then you had people suggesting improvements to the trick. Oh, well, if I was doing this trick, I'd do this. But think about this for a minute. People were suggesting improvements and saying it was a bad trick without even seeing the tutorial. This is based on a trailer. So we've got loads of people discussing how they would improve the method to a trick that they didn't even know. They were basing what they thought the method was on a 4.5-minute trailer. And therein lies the problem. The problem here is that speculation is fine, but when it gets to the point where you're actually blatantly giving away now, I'm not too fussed about the method being blatantly given away, because I expose every single video that I do on my YouTube channel. Every single product I do, I expose it on my YouTube channel. That's just what I've done. I've done that for the last 1.5 years now. So I'm not really that fussed, but I know a lot of other creators are. I've spoken to a lot of creators. A lot of creators are really, really annoyed about the fact that the method gets completely discussed openly and freely, and people talk about how it works and so on and so forth. But my issue then becomes when people assume that they know the method and then talk confidently. You know, people were going on that thread going, I know this trick is terrible. I wouldn't do it. It's terrible. This method is better. And if I was doing this trick, I wouldn't do what Craig did here. I would do this because this is, without even knowing what the gimmick is, without even knowing that it was a gimmicked card and how the gimmick card works and the fact that the card switches 2 cards in real time right in front of the audience, self-workingly, without you needing to do anything. Without knowing any of this, they were making improvements on the trick. And they were saying, well, you know, it's terrible because the card can't be turned face up. And yet on the trailer, as I pointed out on my exposed video, on the tutorial, sorry, there's a handling where the card is being held face up. And if you want the instruction card to be held face up the entire time, you can. Not a problem. It's designed to work whether the card's face up or face down. But people, the problem is, people speculate on tricks, make improvements without even looking at a tutorial. And then the issue then becomes that new people come onto the Magic Cafe that are relatively new into Magic, because when you Google something, especially when it first comes out, normally there's a cafe thread that you hit straight away. And then new people that haven't got the experience of realizing that the Magic Cafe is volatile at best go on there and they don't look at reviews. They just decide, oh, well, no, actually, I'm not going to pick up that trick because, oh, this is how it works, and it's not very good for this reason. And they see all of these people that are talking very, very confidently, like they know what they're talking about, and they assume that that means that the trick isn't relevant. And I've seen that happen so many times to so many people's tricks. I'm seeing it happen at the moment with the new trick by David Jonathan and Nicholas Mavrasis. It happens all of the time. And I don't really know how to fix this, because you can't stop people speculating on the latest and greatest forum. That's what it's intended for. But when it gets to the point that you're going beyond speculating and instead you're actually talking about method and you're talking about improving methods based purely on ad copy or a trailer, that, in my opinion, becomes a bit of an issue. And as a creator, from a creator's point of view, having people diss a trick that they've never watched the tutorial for and almost write it like a review. This trick is terrible. It's terrible for this way. It will never work. And that's the thing that really grinds me. When people go on a Magic Cafe, it will never work in the real world. This will never work. Okay, right. Any trick I come out with, I guarantee I've spent 2 years working it in the real world, minimum. Because the amount of tricks that I don't come out with because it hasn't passed the real world test would stagger you. So, which is why I insist on having multiple live performances on every single project I'm involved with. And if I'm getting pulled into a project that's not mine, we're going to do live performances. It's just going to happen. That's the way it is. And I don't understand people going, this will never work in the real world. This will never fly. Have you not seen the trailer where I'm doing multiple live performances and people are reacting really well? And that's the other thing. And this kind of combines my first point and my second point. You have people going, well, it's not a very good trick because you that person didn't react very well to that particular moment. Yeah, there was no scream. And the problem is, illusionists are partially to blame for this, but the magic community have been conditioned into believing that every single trick that you see on the trailer should be people screaming and running down the street. But in actual fact, if you walk into a place, it can happen. Absolutely, it can happen. But if you walk into a place and you're showing a trick to somebody and you're pointing them with a camera in their face for the first time, it's not always going to lead to screaming reactions. Sometimes it can lead to muted reactions or just people going, oh, or whatever the case may be. It doesn't necessarily have to be screaming, but people go, well, this is not a very good trick because look at the reactions. Like, it's insane. So that's the second problem I have with the Magic Cafe. It's the level of speculation and exposure that takes place specifically in the latest and greatest forum. Okay, so the third thing that I'm not really too keen on with the Magic Cafe is the fact that as a creator, and this is purely from my point of view as a creator, and I've spoken to many other creators about this, and they feel the same way, which is why a lot of creators don't go on the Magic Cafe anymore. As a creator, you kind of can't win when you go in and you reply to people's questions. Like the Destiny Deal thread got taken down, and it got taken down because one particular guy was saying, hey, Craig, I understand that you're mentally ill because you like replying to everybody's comments on posts about your products, but, you know, try to be strong and don't. And, you know, about 5 or 6 times he called me mentally ill. And his reason for calling me mentally ill was because I was going on there and I was replying to people's comments. So, because my attitude is part of my job as a creator when I'm working with a production company is to help promote the product. And one way that I like to help promote the product is by being accessible and answering any and all questions about said product. And one of the ways to do that is by speaking on the threads on the Magic Cafe and talking about what people are saying. So if somebody says, well, I don't like this, you go, well, actually, you don't just have to do that. You can do this or this or this or this or this. I think replying to any and all comments is a good thing. If I was screaming and shouting at everybody and going, well, screw you, you don't know what you're talking about, that'd be a different situation. But if I'm there just like answering people's questions, I don't see a problem. But it's that attitude of certain people on the cafe that shouldn't be the case. But when I say you can't win, what I mean by that is if you go onto a thread and it's not 100% positive and it's about one of your products and people are bringing up issues that they perceive they have based on a trailer, for example, and you reply to them, more often than not, there's this kind of gang mentality where some people will come back and go, well, you're just being defensive. You're being defensive. You are being defensive. You hear that all the time. You see that all the time when you have somebody reply to a question. It's like, well, you're being defensive about this. Stop being defensive. Stop making excuses. Now, what I mean by you can't win is, let's say, for example, I'm a creator. I've released a trick and somebody says, that's not a particularly great trick for this reason. And I go on and I say, well, okay, first of all, I disagree because obviously I've released it. But second of all, this is your point. This is what I think. This is why I think it's a good trick because of this, right? So in other words, you've replied and you've kind of put a counter argument in place as to why you disagree or whatever it may be, right? If they go, oh, you're being defensive or, you know, stop making excuses, it's just not a very good trick. What am I supposed to say to that? What am I supposed to say? I'm not making excuses. I'm just replying to your question. I'm just providing another point of view. Like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to say, you're right, you know, I've worked this for 2 years and the reactions were great and, you know, I think it's wonderful, but now this one post that you've made has convinced me that I was wrong the entire time and I shouldn't have released it. You're right. Thank you very much. That's what they're wanting. The people that make comments like that, that's what they're wanting. They're wanting you to agree with them. So if you agree with them, you're basically just A, lying, and B, you're basically just saying to everybody, don't buy this trick because I agree with this guy when he says it's not very good. But if you disagree and you put another point of view across, you're accused of being defensive or you're accused of, you know, making excuses or whatever the thing might be. You can't really win. You can't really win. If somebody has an idea in their head, and again, normally the people that are putting these ideas across are doing so based on a tutorial, based on a trailer, not on a tutorial. A lot of the time, 99% of the time, when people post like this, they don't even have seen the tutorial. They don't know what the method is. It makes it difficult, and especially, and again going back to point one, especially when nobody knows who a lot of the people on the Magic Cafe are. You know, I bring you back to EDC. Everybody remembers EDC on the Magic Cafe. It was like 100-page thread or something like that, going back and forth with me and Michael Weber, who started the whole thread posting as New Guy. So I made a video about Michael Weber, and New Guy was posting, talking about how I'm a terrible person, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other, and I called him out and I said he was New Guy. It eventually got proven that New Guy was Michael Weber, and then the thread went on forever and took twists and turns. It was like a Hollywood blockbuster. But the bottom line is, this is somebody like Michael Weber, who's like a legend in our industry. And he was posting on the Magic Cafe under a pseudonym and had been doing so for years in order to attack people that didn't like his products and defending his products and hyping them up to the general Magic community. And he had this profile that he posted on the Magic Cafe on. Like, the fact that you can be anybody and post on there, that doesn't sit well with me. Really doesn't. The fact that you can be anybody and you can post on there, I don't know. Because how do you know that the person posting hasn't got an agenda? How do you know? I mean, how do we know that? You don't, unfortunately. But one post can start a conversation going in a completely different direction. And that's basically what Michael Weber was doing. So the point is, it's difficult to win on the Magic Cafe from a creative point of view. And again, I'm just talking about from, in my opinion. Now, again, I do love the Magic Cafe. There's things that I really like about it. And that's why I did a video a few months ago about what I like about it. But, you know, it's broken in many ways. Okay, so point number four. Point number four is there's no communication at the Magic Cafe. There's no communication. You don't really know what's going on. You have to kind of guess. So what I mean by that is, I didn't start the thread on Destiny Deal. I never start the threads on any of my products. But when I see that a thread has been started, I will jump on there and I will reply to it. But I never started the thread on the Destiny Deal. And it took a turn for the worse and got nasty and so on and so forth. And so it got deleted. Now, I never got a communication from the Magic Cafe about why it was deleted. Nobody ever said to me, hey, Craig, we're deleting this post, this whole thread, which had a lot of information that people might have wanted to access if they wanted to buy Destiny Deal. Nope, nobody communicated that to me. It just got taken down. But then there's other posts that I've seen that I've been involved with. There's other threads, sometimes with my product, sometimes not, where like something has happened. The post will get taken down for like a couple of hours. Certain things will be deleted off it, and then it'll be put back up. But again, no communication. It just happens. I remember a couple of weeks ago where almost every thread that was started in the latest and greatest forum was getting moved over into reviews. But then that stopped, and then they all got moved back. And it's like, you don't really, nobody communicates with the Magic Cafe. I know that there's like a ton of moderators and Steve Brooks runs it, and you know, but nobody communicates ever. There's no communication with the Magic Cafe at all. So you just kind of have to guess what's going on. And there's no, like, you can't even guess ahead of time what's going to happen. Like, I remember when I was with Dave Penn on the Wizard Product Review, and the thread came up on Red, and it was vicious. Man, I was getting cremated. I was getting absolutely destroyed. People were posting links to memes of me, and I was getting every name under the sun. It wasn't deleted. It's still there. You can go look it up if you want to. Horrible comments. Horrible comments. And yet, you know, the Destiny Deal thread got taken down, maybe because I was getting called mentally? I don't know. That's the problem. Nobody ever knows. Like, I've seen the new guy thread between me and Michael Webber and a bunch of other big names. That was allowed to stay. The quantum deck thread, when I was going off at Luke Dancy, that was allowed to stay. But then I know there's other threads that get deleted. Like, anytime Justin Miller is named on the cafe in any capacity, it gets taken down. Anytime certain other people get named, it gets taken down. I've had creators turn around to me. I had David Jonathan's just released this new trick with Nicholas Mazaresis, and it was the thread where Gaz Lawrence put on there, Gaz Lawrence returns, blah, 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 blah. And Dave just contacted me by Messenger, and he went, well, that's going to get taken down now, isn't it? And you never know. And it's not, as far as I can see at the moment, it's not been. You just never know. Their communication is just terrible. And if this was like anywhere else, and because you get moderators on forums, you get moderators on Facebook groups. If this level of communication was anywhere else, it would be laughed at. But for some reason, because the Magic Cafe is treated somewhat of a joke by many people in our industry, it's just let pass. But you never know. I know they've got their rules and their regulations, and half of the stuff that gets posted doesn't meet those rules and regulations. And, the stuff that happens that shouldn't happen and the stuff that doesn't. It's just crazy. Now, maybe it's just because they've got an overworked moderator team and they haven't got time to. I don't know what it is. But I think that people would understand the rules a lot better if there was some consistency on the Magic Cafe. Unfortunately, as it is, there's not. Okay, so the fifth point is, and this is a very small point, and it's referencing all the other points that I've made, it kind of gets nasty very, very quickly. And I think this ties mainly into point number one, where you don't really know who most of the members are on the Magic Cafe. There's very few members. I mean, even members that they say who they are, a lot of the time they've got fake names. It's just weird. It really is. And so because you don't know who these people are, and because it's kind of that whole keyboard warrior mentality, people feel that they can say anything because they're hiding behind this this screen of nobody knows who they are, so they feel like they can say anything. You see it in Facebook groups. In Facebook groups you can post an anonymous post, and invariably the time that there's a post which is going to cause a bit of shit is when it's an anonymous post. I'm in Ryland's in high school, secondary school now, and there's a parent group for his school, and I'm in the parent group, and every day there's a couple of posts talking about how terrible the school is, and every single time one of those, and parents moaning about this, that, and the other, every single time one of those posts goes in there, it's an anonymous post. Nobody ever wants to say. And that's the problem. People feel like they can say anything if they hide their identity. And on the Magic Cafe, it gets nasty. It can get nasty very quickly. Like, as I say, just the other day with the Destiny Deal thread, you're mentally ill. I mean, just horrible stuff that you wouldn't. Right. If somebody came up to me, if a guy came up to me in the Magic, in the Blackpool Magic Convention, if the guy came up to me and said, hey, I think you're mentally ill, and spoke to me the way this guy spoke to me on the Destiny Deal thread, I think you're mentally ill because you reply, or whatever it may be, we'd be having a fucking issue right there. There would be an issue. I would drop whatever the hell I'm doing and go, right, come on, let's have a bit of a chat about it. At least with Gaz Lawrence, everybody knows who he is. At least there's that. I mean, they hide behind their identity so they feel they can say anything. And it gets nasty. And I don't think it's a good look for the community. Like I say, this goes back to the fact that new people find the Magic Cafe very early on. And they must come in and look at the Magic Cafe and go, bloody hell, this Magic community is a total shit show. Like, you've got people slagging each other off. You've got God knows what. Like, if you view the Magic Cafe as its own little ecosystem, it's terrible. It's just people wasting their time trying to make themselves sound more important, whilst in reality, they've probably not got much going on for themselves, and so they're posting in there to make themselves feel more important, and because they're hiding behind a screen of people not knowing who they are, they can say whatever they want to say without any repercussions at all. It's not a good look. It's not indicative of what the magic community is all about. And unfortunately, a lot of new people into the magic community find this shit show of a place and very quickly begin to realise that this community can sometimes not be as nice as they think it is. Yeah, I'm going to give you a bonus point, actually. I'm going to give you a bonus point. It's green. The website for the Magic Cafe looks like it was built in the 1990s. It's terrible. It's clunky. It's not user-friendly. It's outdated. Most of these forums are dead and buried by now. Like most of these forums that look like the Magic Cafe, they're dead in the water. People have moved on. They don't use these anymore. It's like maybe there's a couple of people hanging around in MySpace, I don't know, but everybody else has migrated onto somewhere else. It's the same with this. But weirdly, for some reason, the Magic Cafe is still a vibrant place that people go to. But, you know, it shows the level of importance that the cafe has to Steve Brooks and his team. Because if it was important to them, if the Magic Cafe was important enough, they would give it a facelift. They'd make it actually work. You know, they'd make it so it's not shit. Because frankly, it is. And it's so green. It's so great. Sarah can see when I'm on the Magic Cafe a mile off, because all she's got to do is glare over and see the green glare in my glasses, and she'll know that I'm on the Magic Cafe. Like, it just... I mean, it's not an important point, but Jesus Christ, it's the worst website I've ever seen in my entire life. It's just shit. It really is. So there you go. That's your bonus 6th point. It's green and it's crap. So there you go. That's kind of a bit of a different 5x5, right? Look, there's a lot to love about the Magic Cafe, and if you want to go back and look at the video I talked about how to use it properly, please do so. But it is a vile, horrible place, filled with a small subsection of people who really, really, really just have nothing better to do than stroke their own self-importance and just be horrible to anybody and everybody because it makes them feel better about themselves. That's just how it is. And as I say, it's only my opinion. So what I want you to do now is let me know down below. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? I would love to know. I look at going on the Magic Cafe as part of my job, and so I have to wade into the shit sometimes. And the annoying thing is there's some really nice people on the Magic Cafe as well. There's some absolute diamonds on there. And how they manage to stay on there and stay on there when they're surrounded by a small subsection of Muppets, I have no idea. But that's the annoying thing. There's so many nice people on the cafe as well, as I pointed out in my first video. But, you know, whatever. Do me a favour, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, you want to see more videos like this, you know what you got to do. You just got to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. Now, I'm going to be back again soon with another video. So you make sure you look out for that. Yeah, Tuesday. What's Tuesday? Tomorrow. It's a mat test. We're going to have a mat test. That's exciting. So make sure you look out for that. And I will be back again very, very soon. If you haven't already joined the Netrix, please do so. It's www.thenetrix.com. It's my online streaming platform for magicians. Go check it out. I will see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.